All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom, Barakathum. And round two for the Iranian war, which we know was coined the 12-day war, which happened, man, the time passing by so quickly. I don't know if that was, what was that, May, June, something like that. Well, they're ramping up for it again, as we knew, because the scriptures tell us, you know, the things that were, well, I'll just get it. Okay. Isaiah 42. Okay. We told you about this, and this is World War III. This is where we're at. We're just seeing the different lesser events of the major event that's inevitable and will happen. Okay. Isaiah 42:9, behold, the former things are come to pass, and the new things do I declare before they spring forth. I tell you of them. Okay. And what have we been telling you about? Okay. All right. I'll hold Joel 3 real quick, but let's listen to this a little bit of this video. Okay. And you'll see where I'm going with this. And I'm gonna play a small portion of it, trying to keep this brief.
They are definitely trying to get us into a really nasty situation that will absolutely 100% put American lives in jeopardy. It already has, but to an even further extent. My name is Misty Winston. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you tuning in. We're going to talk a little bit about some snapback sanctions. European powers trigger snapback sanctions on Iran. So this is pretty significant. This is a little bit scary. The situation seems to be escalating once again. So the UK, France, and Germany have begun the process of reimposing UN Security Council sanctions on Iran under this quote-unquote snap.
The UK, France, and Germany, they pretty much are the only strong parts of the European Union. All of those other countries, those lesser countries, Bulgaria, Ukraine, even Italy and Spain are not as, they're big, but they're not as big of a powerhouse as the UK, France, and Germany. That's where the major military powers are. Those are the nuclear powers. Those are the powers with air forces, okay? And they're the primary forces in NATO outside of the United States. Now, the United States is obviously the muscle, but those are the other strong parts. So whenever they're getting together to do something, you can just bet that's basically all of Europe, because, you know, Liechtenstein and Belgium and the Netherlands, they don't have that kind of swing, okay?
Mechanism of the 2015 Iran nuclear deal known as the JCPOA, a step that makes another U.S.-Israeli war on Iran more likely, which is terrifying. The European countries known as the E3 sent a letter to the UN Security Council notifying it that they were triggering the sanctions, which will take effect in 30 days. Iran has said that the E3 countries don't have the right to reimpose the sanctions since it was the U.S. that withdrew and violated the JCPOA in 2018. The E3 said they were open to reaching a diplomatic deal with Iran that could halt the sanctions, but it's unclear what sort of agreement could be reached. Their demands include that Iran resume full cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, but Tehran's recent decision to allow IAEA inspectors to return to Iran didn't stop the E3 from triggering the sanctions. Iran expelled IAEA inspectors in the wake of the U.S.-Israeli war in response to the watchdog's role in providing a pretext for the initial Israeli attack and for its failure to condemn the bombing of Iranian nuclear facilities. So joining us to discuss this.
Okay, that's pretty much what I wanted to play on that. But the IAEA is the International Atomic Energy Agency. And so what they were doing before was Iran approved for them to come into the country and inspect everything. Okay, so they're an agency sent by Esau. So Esau had no reason to try to accuse them of making a nuclear weapon, because they conceded to your demand to be inspected and investigated on whether or not they had nuclear weapons. Y'all didn't find anything, okay? And now you made something up, okay? And this is why the small hats went over there in Iran, okay? They said they're this many days away. So that shows you that whole thing was BS, because they've been telling you that they're this far away from a nuclear weapon for literally decades, okay? Since I was a tiny kid they've been scaring the shit out of people, saying that whatchamacallit, that they're gonna get ready to, you know, to bomb America or make a nuclear weapon, okay? But really, this is the small hats doing, okay? That's what this is about. So now they're trying to get them back in there after they bombed them. That's basically what's happening. And now, because Iran doesn't trust them, okay, they're trying to put these sanctions on them. So what are they doing? They're squeezing them. They're putting a squeeze on them, okay? Where is this going to lead? All right? Joel 3:9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Okay, and so the mighty men are now waking up. Okay, the war machine of Iran is now waking up. They ramped up that rocket building machine that they have, that which they can make some pretty advanced missiles, man. Okay, as you can see, they were lighting them up over there, them small hats. Okay, and what Trump and all of them won't tell you is that they stopped the war. Okay, Trump and Israel did, because they actually ran out of bombs. Okay, they didn't think that Iran was gonna come back with that smoke, but they did. Okay, and the Iron Dome defenses were failing, or if they weren't failing, they were being overwhelmed. Okay, because they haven't even brought out them crazy hypersonic joints they got. Okay, and whatever they're telling you that they got on paper, just know that they're not going to tell you exactly what they have. That's stupid. Okay, nobody's going to tell you exactly the number of missiles they got. Okay, you're going to need intelligence to figure that out. And now Israel's ability to get intelligence is now compromised, because now they're on high alert now. Okay, like back in the day, you play Metal Gear Solid, you know, you be running around, everything, the genome soldiers that are running around in the game, you know, you got to sneak around them. Okay, but if you get caught and one of them sees you, all of a sudden the whole thing goes on alert. Now it's way harder for you to hide, and you got to do extra things. So that's what the small hats are in right now, man. Okay, and so that's why these sanctions are coming on them. But this is the men of war ramping up the war machine. Okay, and you don't think Russia's doing the same thing? You think Russia's gonna wait for the U.S. to do something to them before they start, you know, ramping up their missiles and military capabilities? They're not, man. All right. And that it goes into it. Verse 10, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Okay. A plowshare and a pruning hook, those are tools of peace. Okay. Those are tools for farming and fishing and things that you make when there's no threat, there's no imminent war of threat. Okay, but when it says beat it into swords and into spears, what is that saying? It's telling these smaller nations to turn your economy into a wartime economy, similar to the World War II, where you had all of these Ford plants. They were making cars, then they commandeered them and basically turned them into factories to make bullets, to make tank parts, airplane parts. Okay, that's what we have going on here. Okay, it says, let the weak say I am strong. Okay, so they're gonna send everybody, man. Remember, these people, they don't have the comfort of life over there like Americans do. So they really got nothing to lose. They'll send anybody, man. They'll send kids, they'll send old men. They're not gonna just go out, man. Okay. And they're poking the bear yet again. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together around thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Jehovah. Okay, because the Lord is gonna have these angels get involved. Okay, you're gonna see a lot more chariots. When these silos and these nuclear tests and training drills and these military war games start ramping up, get ready to see a rapid increase in chariot sightings. Okay, because the Lord has the real army of hosts. Okay, He's the real Lord of war. Okay, so He decides when things happen and when things don't. Okay, the elder Benji at the Chicago camp this past week was going into how the Lord stirred up Cyrus, okay, to do what he did, man. Okay, it was up to Cyrus to take down the Babylonians. Okay. And the Lord saw fit to have him do that, man. So the Lord set him up to win. That's why the Persians reigned. Okay. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai said, okay, it's your turn to do this and do that. Okay. For prophecy's sake. Okay. And it says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And people are going to be wakened, man. These people that think that these people are just politicians, which they don't really hold any power, but they're going to find out that these politicians are demonic mouthpieces for the elites. Okay. They're going to start paying a lot more attention. They're going to have a lot more investment into what's going on overseas when people start getting drafted. Okay. When people start getting brought and disappearing into these recruitment vans and Humvees, etc. Okay. Then they're gonna be awake. Because see, right now, it's like you can't tell these people nothing, man. No amount of news is causing them to riot or to cry out or do anything to go against their inevitable death and downfall. Okay. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord is basically sick of every last one of you people. Okay. And it's about time y'all all get cleaned up, man. Okay. Make room for new leadership. All right. I'm going to read 2 Judges 15 real quick. Okay. Second Judges chapter 15, verse 28. Behold, an horrible vision and an appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them that shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. So the Lord is going to be with the Arabians of the east. Who are those people? Okay. So if the Lord's going to be with them, that means, guess what? That whoever's against them is going to get cleaned up, man. Okay. It says, all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as wild boars of the wood. Okay. The Carmanians are the Persians. Okay. So there's going to be a conglomerate of nations. Okay. And now you see why you have this big fight between the Arab world and the Israelis. Okay. And when you really think about it, they're all quote unquote Arabic, even though they're of different nations. You got Elomites, that are considered that. Okay. You got Ishmaelites that are considered that. Okay. Even some Cushites. Okay. You got some what do you call it? The Assyrians. Okay. Over there. All right. They all be considered under the banner of Arab, but notice they're all under one banner, and it's going against what? See, the Lord has divided this thing into two different accesses, even in the Middle East, so-called Middle East. Okay? From east and the west. Okay? And notice it said, behold, an horrible vision and an appearance thereof from the east. Okay? So that's what's getting ready to go down. Okay? It says, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Okay. So these other nations, like you got Yemen and Somalia, they're all getting bombed to hell right now. Okay. They're all tired of it. When you read Ezekiel 38, you see all of those nations, Libya, okay, Persia, Ethiopia. Those are the same nations that Esau's invaded. So we already know what this is going to end up into, man. Okay. So don't be surprised if you get another October surprise. Okay. Just like you did back in 2023 on the 7th of October. You already know what happened there. Okay. That's Esau's month of witchcraft. Okay. That demon's probably going to make a big ass sacrifice. Okay. To Satan to try to get his will done on the earth. But it's already written what's going to happen, man. Ain't nothing you can do about this. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to end it there, man. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rachak Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.